Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for April the 23rd of 2020. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams, and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest gaming news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, it is your one-stop shop for all of the hottest gaming news that you need to know. So if you enjoy the show, you like what you see, be sure to hit that subscribe button and keep coming back for more. But with that being said, I have one piece of housekeeping. I know I need a haircut. It's getting really crazy out there. I was in the shower like 10 minutes ago. I can do the full greased back thing. I look like a mobster now. Anyways, you're not here for hairstyle tips or complaints. You're here for today's top gaming news, and boy do we have some, because one major Rockstar game is replacing another on Xbox Game Pass for console. There is some pretty wild news for Xbox Game Pass console subscribers today, as GTA 5 is due to be swapped out for a certain cowboy game very shortly. Red Dead Redemption 2 arrives on the 7th of May, the same day Rockstar's other huge hit GTA 5 leaves the subscription service. The latter has been available since January, so it's had a few months on the service, but Xbox Game Pass subscribers get a 20% discount if they want to purchase GTA 5 permanently. If you missed Red Dead Redemption 2 when it first released back in October 2018, there probably could not be a better time to dive in. We are all stuck indoors, so why not experience nature in a virtual Wild West? It's also got a lengthy story, and although the narrative does drag a little at points, the final chapters are rather spectacular. Just as well, we have all got plenty of time on our hands, and the full list of titles is of course available on the Xbox website if you wanted to check out Game Pass for the first time. So this is a massive story for, of course, two major reasons. First, GTA 5 is leaving Game Pass. On top of that, Red Dead Redemption 2, one of the best titles of this entire generation, is now coming to Xbox Game Pass. And I think that's a very interesting kind of pair to be seeing one out the door and one in the door in this specific day and age. Because I think GTA 5, needless to say, would generate much more revenue for Xbox Game Pass, and inevitably it has. Because it is the most popular game for this console generation and one of the most popular games of all time. And so to see it leaving Game Pass is somewhat of a disappointment because I think it brought a lot to the service. But in addition to that, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a phenomenal game. Is it going to be as enticing for a lot of standard gamers? No, not necessarily as compared to GTA 5, but it's still a phenomenal experience and one that is absolutely worth diving into and giving a shot. So if you want to dive in, again, the game is going to be added to Game Pass on May the 7th for, of course, console. And no news yet if the game is going to be released on the PC version as well. But Game Pass for console is getting a big boy on their hands in just a couple of days. However, Horizon Zero Dawn studio Guerrilla Games is hiring for another open world game. The Amsterdam-based PlayStation studio is hiring for a senior game writer to pitch compelling ideas for game quest, factions, and backstories. The successful candidate will write quest dialogue, systemic dialogue, story outlines, and faction documents, the job description reveals, as well as developing narrative designs for quest, gameplay activities, and game features. This month, the Horizon studio also posted job ads for a lead creature animator and technical vegetation artist. 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn is Guerrilla's only open-world title to date, following several installments of the first-person shooter Killzone. Horizon was a highly successful franchise debut for PlayStation, having sold over 10 million copies, so a sequel for PS5 could have been an easy pitch for the studio. And of course, the people over at Video Games Chronicle go much more in-depth into the history of Horizon Zero Dawn and what's been happening at PlayStation in the past few months. But the big question here is this for a brand new game? It could be. It depends on how far along they are in the process of actually creating Horizon Zero Dawn, because if you hire somebody to pitch compelling ideas for game quest, factions, and backstories, that has a very wide variety, a very wide range of capabilities. You could be talking about side quests, you could be talking about backstories for the person washing their loincloth behind you in the background. You never know exactly what kind of lore they're trying to create here. And so if the game is developed and they are now trying to flesh out the story a bit more, then perhaps you could be seeing something that is getting added to the team, or somebody that is getting added to the team in a midstream kind of way in development. Now, additionally, if this is a brand new title, that would also make perfect sense, because it sounds like somebody is going to come in and pitch compelling ideas for game quest, factions, and backstories. It's an entirely new idea. It's not something that is being fleshed out, or it's not something that is being built upon. It's pitching something. And so I think I could see both of these alternative ideas. I can see the interpretation giving you a bit of free reign over that. But regardless, I'm very excited. Horizon Zero Dawn sold very well. It's still one of those games that's on my backlog. I probably got about a quarter of the way through it, and then college work started piling up, and I got an internship, and now here I am, graduated a year later with tons of other work that's going on. But I'm finishing Death Stranding, so maybe after that, I'll return back to Horizon Zero Dawn. I think that could be a pretty useful use of my time. But regardless, Horizon Zero Dawn is, of course, going to be getting a sequel on the PlayStation 5, almost guaranteed. On top of that, we also had a leak from the voice and the face behind Aloy, the main character of Horizon Zero Dawn, all but confirming a sequel was in the works, so you can look forward to that as we get closer and closer to the PlayStation 5. However, Riot Games is also working on some pretty big news, because they're opening a new studio in Singapore. Riot Games has announced a new development studio in Singapore set to open later this year. This marks the company's second studio in Asia, following Hong Kong that opened in 2016. Both studios will be led by Nathan Beamer and will work closely together. Riot Games Singapore will be primarily focused on development of upcoming titles, according to an announcement from the company, though it will also help support existing titles. It is currently hiring developers for League of Legends, Legends of Runeterra, Valorant, and the unofficially titled Project L. We have been blown away by our Hong Kong studio's performance, and that success has encouraged us to continue expanding our presence in Asia, said Riot COO Scott Gelb. As we invested resources in the region, we recognize that launching a studio in Singapore while maintaining a strong presence in Hong Kong will accelerate the development of new games across the entire company. Having multiple studios in Asia will enable us to grow our development teams while ensuring we continue to create awesome experiences for players. I'm very impressed with Riot Games. Of course, first and foremost, before we dive into the games themselves, I do want to bring this back up. They did get a lot of complaints about the overall culture of the time spent during development for a lot of the team. And since then, I believe that some improvements have been made. Is there always work that can be done when it comes to making a welcoming and fair workplace? Absolutely. Across every company, there are nearly always improvements that can be made. But with that being said, it seems that the studio is beginning to change its trajectory, in a lot of different ways. Of course, they are trying to benefit their team internally, and they're trying to improve the overall quality of work life. But on top of that, they're expanding apart from League of Legends, and they're trying FPSs, they're trying strategy games that aren't necessarily the route-based kind of approach you see from, of course, League of Legends. You see a lot of various new ideas, even a fighting game, which is, I believe, the Project L that is referenced here in the article. And so I think it's nice to see a step forward, something new that is going to be attempted. Even if it fails, even if it isn't what they expected to be, it is something new. And if you never push yourself, you never know what you're capable of. And so, with that being said, very happy for Riot Games, and I hope they continue to make some big strides in a lot of different areas across the company. But those new games, I'm excited to see how they turn out. It looks like Valorant could be a big winner if they do place their bets correctly over the summer. However, DICE is set to move on from Battlefield 5 after a final summer update. The current Battlefield 5 chapter, Into the Jungle, wraps up on the 29th of April, and DICE will release one more standalone update targeted for June before moving on to focus on other new projects. This summer update will include some new content, weapons, and game tweaks, DICE said, but there will be no new chapter. In a tweet, DICE clarified, that after this summer, Battlefield 5 will not receive any new maps, weapons, or factions. However, following the summer update, players will receive Battlefield currency or company coin as weekly rewards, which will give them a chance to unlock gear they may have missed. DICE also plans various community-focused events and activities, and it said it will continue to work on anti-cheat. Thank you all for joining this journey, and we look forward to sharing more with you this summer, senior producer Ryan MacArthur said in a blog post. Of course, Eurogamer's Martin Just Martin? We're not calling it. We don't have a last name. Okay. Eurogamer's Martin pinned Eurogamer's Battlefield 5 review, saying, quote, "DICE's most entertaining shooter in years is also its most compromised. A strong if slim shooter that lays down strong foundations for the future while feeling a little unfinished," Martin wrote. EA boss Andrew Wilson has said Battlefield 5 ultimately failed to meet sales expectations, blaming its month-long delay from October to November 2018, as well as the lack of a Battle Royale at launch. Battlefield 5 did eventually get a Battle Royale mode, dubbed Firestorm, but it failed to make a significant impression on the Battle Royale landscape. And a significant impression it did in fact fail to bring. Now, for those that followed me whenever I streamed on Twitch and other various platforms, I played a lot of Battlefield 5. Not as much as games like Battlefield 4 or Battlefield Hardline or Battlefield 3, but I played a significant amount of Battlefield 5, and it's a very pretty shooter, and it's got some good mechanics, but it was not a perfect game. And I think that it got caught in a bad spot whenever it was released, because a lot of people were coming off of games like Call of Duty World War II, and we began to get inundated with these World War II or otherwise World War I even games that brought a classic kind of approach, a boots on the ground gameplay that people have been absolutely begging for since we saw the inundation of jetpacks and wall running in Call of Duty in years prior. And so Battlefield followed suit. They created a World War I game with Battlefield 1, then they created the World War II game with Battlefield 5, because who cares about numerical systems? And then on top of that, we began to get a bit sick of that entire setting, and so now we have Modern Warfare, which is a phenomenal game that a lot of people are playing. And so if you look back to Call of Duty versus Battlefield, the iconic FPS head-to-head kind of situation, you begin to see the approach and the setup that we have now, where I almost guarantee you are going to be getting either a current day, maybe a Battlefield Bad Company 3, or perhaps maybe a Battlefield 6 that is, quite frankly, a sequel to Battlefield 4, if that again makes any sense. But you could even be seeing something that goes back into the future, but maintains that boots-on-the-ground gameplay. A lot of potential here in the Battlefield franchise. But we will learn more about that, I would say, probably sometime later on this summer, perhaps, if we do see a new Battlefield launch alongside the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. But Xbox owners, speaking of which, donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight the coronavirus. With over 100,000 donations, Microsoft expands its partnership to the United Nations Foundation and Global Giving. Microsoft recently unveiled an initiative to help combat the COVID-19 pandemic, providing Xbox One owners with the opportunity to donate to the CDC Foundation by playing Xbox games. Hooking into its Microsoft Rewards program, players can donate earned points to coronavirus relief efforts, and with every 1,000 points matched by a $1 donation from Redmond itself. In short, Xbox One owners can do their part, staying at home and staying entertained. Those efforts appear to have been well received, with over 100,000 donations clocked through Microsoft Rewards. Existing contributions surpassed hundreds of thousands of dollars, aiding the CDC Foundation in its response to the coronavirus. Quote, within the first few weeks of announcing Xbox One owners can use Microsoft Rewards points to donate to the CDC Foundation, our gamer community has come together with over 100,000 individual donations, an incredible showing of support for the CDC Foundation, contributing to hundreds of thousands of dollars donated this month by Rewards members, states Microsoft. We are incredibly inspired by the way the community is rallying to provide support in its time of need. The platform holder has announced an expansion of the Xbox One program, providing an opportunity for U.S. players to donate to nonprofit Global Giving and the United Nations Foundation. That comes with 2 extra virtual punch cards, allowing gamers to secure over 6,000 Microsoft Rewards points in total, equaling to a $6 donation. To access the points or donate, you can download the Microsoft Rewards app for Xbox One and look for the Support a Hero While at Home tiles under the featured offers. And so very cool to see that gaming is doing good. Of course, we see stuff like Games Done Quick, with Corona Relief Done Quick, CRDQ, that was held last week, raising tons and tons of money. On top of that, you see a lot of people that are just supporting one another emotionally during this time. And then you see Microsoft promoting this new partnership with Xbox and, of course, other fantastic organizations doing some amazing work throughout the world. And so if you want to dive in and give it a shot and donate, by all means, you certainly can. All you have to do is play some games, earn some rewards, punch some cards, and you can help fight back against the coronavirus. But let's end off on a funny note, shall we? Even Elijah Wood needs Twitter's help to sell his Animal Crossing turnips. The stock market in Animal Crossing New Horizons is bringing the internet together. After one user shared her incredible turnip prices on Twitter today, it caught the attention of the Lord of the Rings star Elijah Wood. Wood privately messaged Jessa asking for her dodo code so he could visit her island to sell his turnips. Her shop today was purchasing turnips for 599 bells each, which is a particularly good number to sell your turnips. Normally, a good selling price is between the 300 to 400 bells range. After making a great profit on his turnips, Wood hung out with Jessa on her island. Not only did he compliment how beautiful her island was, but Wood also showed proper Animal Crossing etiquette by asking if he may pick some fruit from her trees. It was so much fun, Jessa told The Verge when asked how it felt having Elijah Wood visiting her island. He was so nice and wholesome. Many players across the globe are turning to the internet to find the best turnip selling prices each week to maximize their in-game profits. The game lets you visit others' islands, so players can travel to someone else's island if their price is better. To find the highest prices, users have been joining the Reddit forums and Facebook groups, using price prediction calculators, and starting Discord and Slack channels to get on top. It does show that even celebrities are not afraid to ask the internet for help when it comes to conquering the Animal Crossing stock market. I love everything about this. Number one, Elijah Wood. How can you not love the guy? On top of that, Animal Crossing is some wholesome shit. I don't play Nintendo Switch, and I'm certainly not going to play Animal Crossing, but if I need to veg out, absolutely. I'm queuing that up on Twitch immediately. A very relaxing game overall. So hey, Elwood is his, of course, username. Elijah Wood visited Jessa in Animal Crossing. You love to see it, and man, kind of jealous, not gonna lie, just a little bit. But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed today's show, drop me a like down below, and let me know what you think about everything we talked about today. Are you looking forward to seeing what's going to be happening with Game Pass in the future? Will you download Red Dead Redemption 2 if you have Xbox Game Pass, or are you bummed that GTA 5 is leaving? On top of that, are you going to get the new Battlefield game? Would love to hear your thoughts on that. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.